Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to our class on working with investors. This is a great class for you guys today. We're going to be going over the different ways to find investment properties, also how to analyze the different styles of investment properties. We are recording our session, and you can always find all of our classes inside of our YouTube channel. So as soon as we're finished, we will be uploading our class in the YouTube channel. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free. Ask questions. You can always unmute yourselves and ask as many questions as possible, or you can always type your questions in the chat. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to go over different ways to find investment properties, how to analyze them. We are going to use the MLS. We're also going to use IMAP, and we're going to use RPR. So there's a lot to cover. All right, so there are different style investment properties. First, let's go ahead and log into Matrix, right? We're going to log into Matrix and we're going to learn how to look for the different style of investment properties. The first one I want to show you is how to find investment properties for those that want to purchase and renovate and then put back on the market for a profit. Those are commonly known as, flipping or buying a property to flip for a profit. And it's not like it was before, years back. You can find
Hello, my name is
properties
Victoria, Elite
flip,
Ocean
you
View
can find them really
Realty.
fast.
My
Not
client is
the case
interested in
anymore.
the listing at four.
All right, so it's not really the case anymore. However, you can still find them. And then we will go over finding properties that are rental income. They're great for rental income, and we're going to learn how to analyze them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with a search. We're going to click on search, and then we are going to search for RE1, RE2, which is your single family homes or condos. Today's example, we're going to cover a single family home. So we are going to look for active single family home. And then we want to search for properties that are foreclosures. All right. We're going to search for properties that are in foreclosure. So under the additional field section, you want to add the additional field criteria called REO. See, REO stands for real estate owns, or in other words, bank owned properties. These are foreclosed properties already. So we're going to click on, we're going to select REO and we're going to select yes. We are currently looking for foreclosed properties. Now, in the entire MLS, there are only 85 foreclosures that are listed for sale. There are, of course, are other ways to search for foreclosures that are for sale. You may look through some auction websites like auction.com or hubzoo.com or xome.com. These are common websites where you will find properties up for auction. Now, through the MLS, there are currently 85 available properties that are in foreclosure. Now we are going to stick to Miami-Dade County, so let's click on Miami-Dade County, and that leaves us only with 18 results. So out of curiosity, how many condos or townhouses are available? There are 69 condos or townhomes that are in foreclosure right now for sale in Miami-Dade County. All right, but we are going to stick with single family home. We're going to go ahead and click on results. No price range, no specific size. I just want to see a list of foreclosures. So you'll see that you have foreclosures in every single price range. You got in the lower price ranges, right? You have somewhere in the middle, and then you have very expensive foreclosures that you see here. Now we're gonna click on the very first one, which is a property here in Miami. It's a two bedroom, one bathroom, 866 square foot home. All right. Obviously, before you even visit the property, you'd like to see the pictures. So here are the pictures of the home. Guys, remember, we're buying a property to flip for a profit. So don't expect to see a ready to move in property. This requires a lot of work. As you can see, there is roof damage, right? So you are going to need a new roof. And that was evident from the first picture that had damage to the roof. There's pretty much damage to the entire home. This is what you will see if you have an investor looking to buy a property and maybe reconstruct the property or just tear down the property and build a new one. All right, next step is to read the remarks, see what the realtor is telling you. It says this property is perfect for someone looking for a clean slate. This house is located on a 5,300 square foot lot. All right, anything else here? It says all owner occupied offers will be responded to after 7 days on the market, and investors' offers will be responded to after 30 days. So, what does that tell you? That tells you that the sellers, in this case, the bank, is going to consider those who would like to live in the property, use it as their homestead exemption first. After 30 days on the market, then they will open up the listing to investors. So they're giving the homeowner occupant 30 days pretty much to buy the property before investors. Now, if you look at the bottom, this property's been on the market now 57 days, so it is open to investors. Okay. Now, looking up here, you will see that the property has history. So we're going to click on property history, and you will see that the property was listed originally for $275,000, and they lowered the price to $265,000. So by $10,000. Okay. Now we're going to go back here to listing, and we want to check the value of the property. So for that, we're going to use IMAP. You see this little button right here? We're going to go ahead and use IMAP. And by clicking on IMAP, we're going to confirm a few things. First and foremost, this is a foreclosed property. You'll see here the current owner is a Holdings Corp there. And when you look at the certificate of transfer, that is an indication that this indeed was a foreclosure, the certificate of transfer, or sometimes you're going to see here a some type of certificate, right, of transfer, a certificate of sale. Now, that means that it was a foreclosure. Whenever you see a warranty deed or a special warranty deed, it was a regular sale. And then, of course, if you see some type of quick claim deed, then it was a transfer of title. So in this case, it was a foreclosure. And you're going to see here U.S. Bank Trust NA grantee, right? That was the bank who then sold it to the investor for $186,000 back in December of 2024. All right, so just a few months ago. $186,000. They are attempting to sell the property now for $265,000. Now, we're going to go ahead and run a CMA on this property by using the feature on the right-hand side called Find Comparables. So we're going to click on Find Comparables. And in order for us to run a valid CMA, we have to look for similar properties within a half-mile radius around the subject property sold within the last 6 months. So this is why I have here half-mile location, and I have sold within the last 6 months. And then I also have our differences in size for lots set to 20% and a difference in size for living area set to 20%. So by doing this and clicking on update criteria, if IMAP finds comparables, they will show them to you. If there are no comparables, then you're going to have to adjust this, maybe go out 1 mile or even go out 1 year. So it did return three comps, right? It returned three comps. We have one property that sold at $355,000 in September of 2024. We have another property here that sold at $449,000 in October of 2024. And then we do have a property that sold for $298,000 in October of 2024. All three put together, you have an average price of $378,000 with a possible high price of 453. Keep in mind the property has now been on the market for 60 days and they have lowered the price now to $265,000. So if you were to purchase the property for 200 and say $50,000, okay, IMAP is telling you that on average this property could be worth up to $378,000 with a possible high of 453. Now, if you want to improve these numbers based on these three comps, look at the price per square foot of each sale. Right here we have price per square foot of 473. We have another one here of 523. And then we have a very low price per square foot of 312. Let's say we remove the one that sold for 312. It just sold for very little money. You remove it, and now we're looking at a low of 409, a high of 453, and an average of 431. Guys, we're not trying to determine what the value of the property is today. Obviously, this property needs to be fully remodeled, if not torn down. We're trying to determine what the value of a home this size in this neighborhood could be worth if it were in perfect conditions. So based on the highest comparables in the market today, this property could be worth upwards of $430,000, if not a little bit more. So now it starts to make sense to the investor, right? It starts to make sense. Now, you guys can shop, right? I mean, don't stop on the first one. I am going to stop on the first one because this is a class and I actually want to show you much more. But you want to shop, you want to go to the next property. And here's a property for $265,000. All right, we only have a few pictures here. Wow, okay. Yeah, that property needs to be torn down. Let's go to the next one. All right, here is another property, okay? And then basically run your comps, run your numbers, look through the remarks, look at the things that they tell you in the broker remarks as well. All right. So you definitely want to do your homework. You want to go shopping and you want to find the right property for your investor. So now that you found this property and you know that you have possible value in the home, now we're going to go ahead and run our investment analysis. For this, you're going to use RPR. You can access RPR one of multiple ways. So from the listing itself, you're going to look for the RPR logo, which is this huge logo that you see here. From inside of IMAP, you can always go to the right and you can click on RPR. That's also going to launch RPR. All right, so let's go ahead and click on RPR. That's going to open up the RPR program for us. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and run an investment analysis. Guys, forget about the RVM right now. Forget about the list price. Remember the property, if remodeled, if, fixed, you guys can fix and flip the property for a profit. If you guys want to run comps inside of RPR before you do the analysis, feel free to do so. You see right here where it says CMA value, create a CMA. Let's go ahead and run that real quick here. So confirming the facts of the home, this is indeed a 2-1, 866 square foot home. Let's click on confirm facts and close. Step number 2 is to find the comparables. So let's go ahead and click on find comps. We are going to search for properties within a 6-month radius or time frame. And we are going to search for minimum 2 bedrooms, minimum 1 bathroom, and we're going to make sure we stay within the parameters in the living area square footage and in the lot size. And we're going to go ahead and click on search. So that's going to give us some comps in the area. Just like we did on IMAP, we're going to go out half a mile. So we're going to draw a shape, a radius. We will stand on this black pin that you see here. That's your subject property. And we're going to stretch this out half a mile. We're going to go ahead and click on search in this area. So we have all these comps, right? We have all these comps. Shoot for the highest, guys. Shoot for the highest. So this one here sold for 434 a square foot. This one sold for 476 a square foot. This one sold for 473 a square foot. 402, 427, 586. Guys, we're talking homes that are the same size in the same neighborhood. This one is 858 square feet. That one sold for 523. And we have one more here. That one sold for 313 a square foot. We're not going to use that one. and we have here 435 a square foot. All right, so these are all my sales. That brings me to 348 as a low and 507 as a high. When I click on update valuation and close, we're gonna get an average of 406, right? We're gonna get an average of 406. Now, we've already confirmed with IMAP, we've confirmed with RPR. If these numbers don't make sense, if you chose way too many comparables, just click on edit. And like I said, we're gonna shoot for the highest. So let's go ahead and remove 434 a square foot. Let's remove 402 a square foot. And I'm going to give you reasons why I'm removing those. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and remove 435 a square foot. Now we're going to stay here. There's one that we chose that's giving me a low value, that one there. There you go. All right. The reasons why I removed them is because we intend to have the property at its highest value, right? Once we remodel the home, we intend to list the property and sell it at its highest possible value. So what's the highest possible value based on price per square footage? Just right now, average 445, low of 410, and up to 507 if you're lucky. So let's just stick with the average, 445. So we're going to now move into the property details. So let's go back to the property details. We're going to click on property information and we are going to look for valuate. Look on the right hand side under additional resources. We're going to select valuate and we're going to now evaluate the property and its investment potential. So let's click on continue. Now, if you get this option here on this screen that says upgrade, there's no need for us to pay for an upgrade. It's just that my capacity, the memory in my program is already full. So we're gonna just click here. We're gonna choose the property that we're currently studying, the first one, and we're gonna click on submit selection. Now it cleans our slate and we start brand new. You can hold up to 5 reports at one time for free. So there's no need for us to pay for any additional storage. You just, once you reach your limit of 5 reports, then you're going to clean your memory, and you're going to now choose the property that we're studying. So what scenario are we buying the property for? Are we holding the property long term or are we doing a flip scenario? Of course, we're going to go ahead and run a flip scenario. All right. So now that we chose the flip scenario, we're going to move on to the next phase, which is come down here and determine what our purchase price is going to be. So being that the property has been on the market now for 59 days, they lowered the price to 265, originally from 275, and knowing that the foreclosure actually occurred for $186,000. If you guys don't remember, just open up IMAP, come over here to the MLS listing, open up IMAP, and you'll see that the last sale, the foreclosure certificate of transfer, happened for $186,000 back in December of 2024. So knowing that, go ahead and offer a lot less. I mean, this property is in really bad conditions. So let's say we offer $205,000 and they accept, right? We're going to offer cash 205K and they accept. Now we have to determine the full year's holding costs. That's taxes, insurance, and any other maintenance that we have to pay, like utilities, for a full year. So going back to IMAP, what are the property taxes? Last year's taxes, 2024, were almost $4,000, $3,898. So let's just round it off to $4,000. Now, insurance on this property is probably going to also run you another $4,000. So now we're at $8,000 in holding costs. Now let's estimate what minimal electricity and running water is going to cost us. Let's say that energy or light bill is going to be somewhere around 250 a month, right? 250 a month, that is $3,000 a year. And then running water, Let's say it's going to cost us 100 a month. That's another 1,200, so that's another 4,800. So on top of the $8,000, we're going to add 4,800, and let's just bring it up to an estimated or round value of $13,000. So we don't plan on holding the property for a full year. However, we are going to write the amounts of the holding costs for a full year, and then the system is going to prorate based on how many months you plan on holding the property. Okay. So right here it says, when are you purchasing the property? April 1st. How long do you estimate holding the property for? We're going to put in 6 months. You have anywhere from 1 month all the way to 1 year. So we should be able to buy the property, renovate the property, put it back on the market, and sell it within 6 months. Okay. If your team is ready, if the investors have a team of contractors ready to hit the floor running, then that should not be an issue. Okay. And then, of course, once the property is fully renovated, you're going to place it back on the market and it should sell really quickly. There's a lot of families looking for fully renovated homes. Now, if they are going to take out some type of loan, it's mostly going to be a hard money loan. All right. No one's using FHA or conventional to do a flip scenario. They're just going to lose out on their closing costs. All right. So hard money lenders are like investors. They're going to loan you the money. They're going to loan you the money to rebuild the home at a higher interest rate. And it's usually between a 12 to 24 month term. Now we're gonna go ahead and say that the hard money lender is going to loan us 80%. So the investor does have to come out of pocket with at least 20% of the purchase price. So what's 20% of $205,000? All right, you're gonna come up with that money. So $20,000, $40,000, sorry, is gonna come out of the buyer's pocket, right? In order to get this done. Now, the interest rate is going to be how much? What's the interest rate? So, in a hard money lender situation, it's going to be a lot more than the regular interest rate that's being charged by lenders today. So, let's go with 10%, right? 10% interest. And we're going to go ahead and click on submit. Now, from here, we're going to go into purchase and sale. See up here, purchase and sale. We're going to click here and then we're going to enter what the renovation budget is going to be. So, guys, one of you, what do you think? How much should we spend to renovate this home? New roof, new everything. Pretty much new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring. It's a small home. So, anybody have an idea what we should spend to renovate the home?
100,000? Probably
100,000 sounds,
30,000.
yeah, 100,000 seems like probably the number, right? So we're gonna go here to renovation budget and let's go with 100K. I mean, we need a new roof, we need new windows. We're gonna, of course, put in impact windows, right? We're gonna put impact windows, we're gonna put a new roof, we're gonna put new floors, new kitchen, new bathrooms, pretty much new house. All right, as long as the house is not falling apart, the foundation's not cracked and it's not falling apart, then we can rescue the home. There's no need to bulldoze the home down and rebuild the house. If that were the case, then you need to offer a lot less because you're pretty much buying the lot, the lots. Okay. So if your investors are planning to just blow up the home, then you need to offer a lot less because you're pretty much buying the land. Okay. That's not the case here. We're buying the property, its structure, and we're gonna spend $100,000 to make this house beautiful. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and come down here. And what is the estimated closing cost? Right? What's the estimated closing cost? So we're buying the property for $205,000. I'm gonna say that the estimated closing cost is, and it's gonna be cash. Even if it's a hard money loan, it's considered cash, right? Um, let's go with an estimate of 2%. 2% closing costs. So what's 2% again of $200,000? All right, so about let's go with $4,500. All right, that's our closing costs. All right, now let's go to the right where it says gross valuation sales price. So we saw that RPR was giving us a possible value on average of 445. All right, so let's stick to the average. There's no need for us to stick to the very high end. All right, let's stick to the average of 445. So come back over here, gross valuation price of 445,000. Click on enter, and now we've entered the gross valuation sales price. And then what are you, as the realtor who represents the investor, what are you going to make on the transaction? Remember that compensation. So if sellers are going to pay you a compensation, how much? Let's go with 5%. Let's go with 5% compensation. So the investors all in for 205. They went ahead and renovated the property. That's an additional $100,000. The closing cost was $4,500. They're going to place the property on the market in 6 months for 445 minus the 5% compensation. That's going to leave your investor with a very healthy profit if they purchase in cash of slightly below 24%. If they took out a loan with a hard money lender, your investor is set to make 21% return on a 6 month investment. This is a great deal. If your investor is purchasing in cash, they stand to profit $106,000 on this transaction. If your investor is going to use a hard money lender, they stand to profit 94,384 on this transaction. So out of those two numbers, which one makes more sense to the investor? Buying cash or use a lender? All right.
Cash.
I mean, yeah, cash seems like you're making a little bit more money, but what are you really risking when you use a lender? If a lender puts up 80% of the sale of the purchase and you still stand to make $94,000, you ever heard the term make money with other people's money? All right. So the lender or the hard money lender, yeah, in 1 year, they made $12,000. That's the difference right here, right? They made $12,000 by just loaning you the money. Okay. They made $12,000 by loaning you the money, but you make a lot more by risking less. All you had to risk was $40,000 in a down payment out of your pocket. So you risk $40,000 to make 94K, or you risk the entire purchase and renovations in cash to then make $106,000. I mean, they both make sense, guys. This is a slam dunk renovation. All right, fix and flip. So like this, you will then you will then print this in a PDF. So you can come here to file, export, print it in a PDF, and present it to your investor as a great opportunity to purchase a fix and flip. Now, guys, the due diligence has to be done. You need to call the city. You need to call the county. You need to make sure there are no open permits. There are no code violations. If they are, then your buyer needs to understand that they have to fix the violations, that they have to fix any open permits. All right. The bank is not going to do it for you. All right. The bank is not going to do it for you. So, as a realtor representing the investor, you have to do your due diligence, do your homework. All right, guys. Any questions in what we just covered? That's the REO or foreclosure aspect of it. Now, I did mention that there are auction websites out there that you can find properties. There are. So if you come over here and you put in here auction.com, right? This is an auction website. It's really one of the more popular auction websites. and you can come here and you can put in Miami, Florida. And you can start searching for properties in Miami, Florida that are up for auction. Okay. You see here, this one here says, well, let's go over an opening bid. This one says here, the auction for sale is going to be online March 11th. All right, the opening bid is $100. The estimated resale value is 803K. That doesn't mean you're going to get the property for $100, guys. That means that the opening bid is $100. And like in any other auction, the highest price is going to win. All right, the highest price is going to win. So it tells you here when it starts, and these are online auctions. You do not have to go in person, and you're going to enter your bid. In most cases, they're going to ask you for a deposit to be held in escrow in order to participate in an auction. All right. After your buyer has won the auction, then everything else is pretty much the same. There's a purchase contract, and you're going to go through financing if there's going to be financing, or you're going to pay in cash. You know, auction is pretty much a quick way to sell properties, and you're going to go to a reputable auction company like auction.com. There are many others, guys. There is hubzoo.com, hubzoo.com. This is another one here. All right, so investing in real estate starts here. So there's this one, there's xome.com. So there are many other different auction websites you guys can use to find properties at a bargain. All right, let's now switch focus, guys. How can we find the perfect investment property for our investors that's going to produce a healthy return? Would you say buying a single family home for rental is better than buying a multi-family home for rental? Anyone? Yeah, you guys tend to stay quiet all the time, but I'm gonna
No,
I'm gonna answer for you.
no, Robert.
Correct. So the answer probably is no, right? I mean, you definitely want to find a multi-family
Like a
home,
duplex.
a duplex, a triplex, maybe even more units. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and run a residential multifamily income property. That's going to be your duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Now, it may not be attractive looking, right? It's not that beautiful single family home, but single family homes are way too expensive, and you're not going to get a healthy return on a single family home like you would with multiple incomes in a duplex scenario or in a triplex or fourplex scenario. So we're going to go ahead and click on fourplex, right? We're going to click on fourplex, and then we're going to do single family home, and let's do zip code 33135. This is like Little Havana, all right? So 33135 gives us this many results. Now, Little Havana has become a little pricey. I mean, you're close to Brickell, and as you can see, the cheapest fourplex right now for sale is $1 million, basically. All right, so I am going to switch zip codes. We're going to go somewhere else, but this is $1 million, and here's what we're getting. We're getting $2,000 a month from this rental. We're getting 1850 from this rental. Actually, I may want to use this one actually. I am going to use this one. This is
Yeah,
actually,
they people are moving there because of they don't want to stay in Brickell because it's too crowded. So and they own businesses like cleaning service and stuff. So they're even moving closer to the inner city, like 33127,
yeah.
because they don't mind because it's still close to Brickell to go over that bridge, and they have families, so they don't mind.
Yeah, so long as you're close to where you work, let's say you work in downtown or Brickell, or you just want to live close to that, there's absolutely attractive situations just outside of that.
And they're really nice. They're building up really nice over there.
I mean, if you want to live close to Wynwood, consider Alapata. Uh,
Yeah.
You want to live close to Brickell, consider Little Havana as an option. But you know what? I mean, space and construction space is at a premium, and a lot of these construction projects are moving westward. They're moving into Little Havana. They're moving into Alapata. So you'll see all that. They're moving into
L-
uh like
Liberty City.
Little River and Liberty City. Yeah, I mean they're definitely moving. They're moving west. Okay. But the reason why I said I want to use this is because just when by looking at this, I mean this one here, this unit is rented at almost $3,000. I mean, start doing the math, guys. 2850 plus 2000, that's 5850 plus another 1850. You're at $7,000 already or more. Let's just pull out the calculator because this is too much math. All right. So 2000 plus 1850 plus 2850 plus 1500, you're looking at a total monthly income for this fourplex of $8,200. So even if you're buying it at $1 million, this is a great deal, right? I mean, you're looking $8,200 a month times 12. That's 98,400 a year, and you're buying this at $1 million. That's almost 10% of the purchase price. Actually, it is 10% of the purchase price. So I actually landed on one right away that I want to use as an example. But again, you guys want to go shopping, right? I mean, here's one for 1,350,000. This one has lower income. You see, that's why the other one seems so much more impressive. Okay. Now, what happens when you land on a listing and they don't tell you the income? Then, of course, you're going to have to call the listing agent, right? You're going to have to call the listing agent and try and figure out what the expense report is, right? The income and expenses. So let's go ahead and run a study on this one. Let's take a look at the pictures. This has 88 pictures. It may not be a traditional fourplex, right? I mean, it may have a single family home and then some other income producing property somewhere else within the property itself. A bunch of aerial shots. All right, let's get to the property itself. Wow, this is like fully renovated. All right, what are we buying here? What are we buying? This beautifully remodeled home in the heart of Miami offers Airbnb investors. The main house includes a 3-1 layout. So I'll tell you why the prices are so high. The prices are so high because they probably are considering Airbnb prices. All
And
right.
hey,
So keep in mind that when you are going to buy a property and use it as an Airbnb, all the expenses are going to fall on the landlord, including electricity, water, internet, maintenance of the property. So all the expenses, there's not one expense that the tenant is going to pay. Now, if you do yearly leases, then yes, you can have the tenant maybe pay for the water. All right. And then you can have the tenant pay for the internet. Okay. So running an example on this property, we're going to click on RPR right here. Okay. We're going to come down here and we're going to click on Valuate, right? Same tool we used before. We're going to click on Valuate. We're going to click on Continue. All right. From here, we're going to stay with the purchase price of $995,000. We're going to put in here 4 units and total gross potential rent. So, following the advice of the listing agent, we have a total yearly gross rent of 98,400. Even if that's not accurate, right? Even if we cannot come close to that number, it's still a good deal. Let's say we fall short of that number. Let's say we go to $88,000. We fell short of that number. I still think that this is going to be a great deal. You're making $88,000 a year gross on $1 million purchase. All right. It's still very close to 10%. So even if you fall short of that number, you're still looking at a great value. This is now the operating expenses and reserves. So let's start with taxes. Okay. We're going to open up IMAP right here and we're going to look at the taxes. So the taxes on this property last year, um, they, they have this property as a homestead exemption. I doubt this is ever going to be a homestead exemption unless the owner of the property plans to live in the 3-1 and then rent out the other ones, right? Then yes, it could be a homestead. So let's say the taxes on this are going to shoot up to $15,000. All right. Yeah, I'm going high. It's not going to be homestead and it's going to be an investment property purchased at $1 million. So let's say the taxes shoot up to $15,000. Let's say insurance on this fourplex is going to run you about $8,000 a year. So that's already $23,000. Let's say utilities, FPL, all combined, all 4 units run you somewhere around 600 a month. So 600 a month times 12. Okay. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna use my phone's calculator. It's just that my phone is buzzing right now. Someone's calling. But anyway, $6,000 times 12. Not 6,000, sorry, $600 times 12. 7,200. So we're gonna add another 7,200 to this, and that brings our total up to 30,200. All right. Now add water. So running water, all 4 units. Let's say running water here is going to cost us $200 a month. So $200 a month times 12, that's going to be 2,400. So add another 2,400 to this. You're up to 3,200, 32,600. So 32,600. Now, maintenance. Who's going to maintain the property? You need someone to go and maintain the property. Uh, Perhaps, trim the trees, make sure the property's in good conditions. Let's say you pay someone 1,000 a month. 1,000 a month to go maintain the property. All right, so that's another 1,200 a year. Let's bring our total up to $34,000. Let's round it off to $34,000. Now, it's up to the owner whether they're going to save for reserves or not. All right. In most cases, you're not going to have owner safer reserves. But wait, what I am going to teach you as a savvy investor that you also want to account for vacancy. All right. It is not guaranteed that you're going to have your property fully rented through Airbnb all year long. If you're lucky, you are, right? If you're lucky, you are. But let's say that you are not. Let's say that you need to deduct from this $88,000 a good amount of money because it was vacant. So let's add another 10 grand, all right? So instead of 34,000, make it $44,000 in expenses. All right? So that's a combination of taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, and another $10,000 for vacancy. Total out-of-pocket expenses and reserves, $44,000. Okay. Now let's buy the property in April. Let's finance 70%. So we're going to go in with 30%. And let's make our interest rate 6.5. All right. So let's go ahead and review. We're buying it for $995,000. This is a 4 unit property with a total yearly income of $88,000. $44,000 in expenses, purchasing April 1st, holding it for 10 years, financing 70% at 6.5% interest rate. Click on submit. All right. And of course, the system had a glitch. Notice the parentheses here. this debt right here, that represents a glitch. So no worries. I'm actually happy that a glitch occurred. We get to teach you how to restart it, right? So come over here to where it says file, click on new file, and let's do this again. This is a multi-family property. We're gonna go ahead and put here test. All right, and then I'm gonna put here 33135 fourplex. Okay. The property square footage is, what's the property square footage? 2346. 2346. Purchase price $995,000. It's 4 units. All right, gross potential rent, we said it was $88,000 a year with $44,000 in expenses. All right. Annual growth income is set to 3%. Never change this, guys. This is your average growth rate nationally. So never change that. Purchasing it April 1st, holding it for 10 years, financing 70% at a 6.5% interest rate. Click on submit. And now we should have our numbers. All right, let's click on purchase and sale. And yes, we do. All right, guys. For those of you that have investors looking for a high yielding income property, even by lowering our income to $88,000, right? That's $10,000 less than what the listing agent says. And by also accounting for another $10,000 less in our income because of vacancy, you're still looking at an internal rate of return of 7.6% yearly. This is way above 5%, and 5% for most investors is considered great. You're looking at a 7.5% yearly rate of return on a property like this. This property should be for sale at $1.5 million, and it's for sale at $995. This is why I said, all right, if that's true, then this is like, let's not even look more because I mean, that's the one. There is an internal rate of return if you buy it in cash of 6.59% yearly, which is also very good. As long as these numbers over here, average cash on cash, remain positive, that means in order to achieve a 7.6% return, you do not have to come out of pocket, right? You still have an additional 2% cash on cash left over after all expenses are paid. If this number were negative and this number were positive, it means that in order to achieve the positive returns, the owner has to come out of pocket. So let's say this is negative 1%. That means you don't have any cash flow and you have to put out of your pocket in order to make this work. All right. This is a great deal. Now, remember that we cut the we cut we added to the expenses 44,000. All those numbers were just estimates, right? These were all just estimates. Of course, you got to concrete these numbers. You got to ask for a financial, right? You got to ask for income and expenses. You have to confirm those numbers. Once you do, run this study with the confirmed numbers and look, I'm getting a cap rate of nearly 7%. Present this to any investor, and they're going to say, that's too good to be true. This is great. For $1 million, I'm going to get a cap rate of 7%, an internal rate of return of 7.5%. This is too good to be true. So once again, I'm a little cautious as to these numbers here. This is of course is Airbnb. You go for something like this that's not Airbnb. Let's go here. This may not be Airbnb. It may be leased as you can see here, leased, leased, and leased. Run the numbers on a property like this one, right? Let's run the numbers on a property like this one. Let's click on RPR. And let's come down here and let's click on Valuate. Let's click on Continue. So here's a different scenario, right? Multifamily, we're buying it now for a higher price, 1,350,000. That's what I was expecting to see. Not $995,000, but anyways, here we are. $1.35 million is a 4-unit property, and your potential income on this property is as follows: $2,000 a month, $1,800 a month, $1,800 a month, and $1,900 a month. That's a grand total of $7,500 a month times 12. You're looking at $90,000. All right, so come over here and write $90,000. Next up is operating expenses and reserves. So once again, we're going to check the taxes on this property. So click on IMAP. And the taxes on this property are as follows, $15,000. So did I not nail the taxes in the last property correctly? Right? Your taxes are going to be somewhere around $15,000. So again, we're just going to go ahead and duplicate what we talked about before. $15,000 plus another $8,000 in taxes, I mean in insurance. Uh, what utilities are included in this? So if they tell us, it would be great. They're not telling us. They're not telling us, what expenses. They just say an net operating income of 74,600. All right, so they're not really telling us. There's no attachment. So in this case, since we're just running a class, we're going to estimate the numbers. All right. So $15,000 plus 8,000 for insurance, we're at $23,000. Um, let's say that the electricity is being paid. Let me see here. Let's say the electricity is being paid by the owner. All right. Let's say the electricity is being paid by the owner. So you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing like I did before. Let's say $600 a month times 12, that's 7,200. So on top of the 23,000, we're gonna add another 7,200. So bring our total up to 31,000. 31,000 water, 250 a month. That's 3 grand. So bring our total up to 34,000. And just like I did before, hire someone to maintain the property, pay them $1,000 a month, and now you're looking at 35,200 or 35,400. Now, let's not account for vacancies. Let's hope that we have the property leased fully for each year, right? 12 month, even if even let's let's actually do something. Let's account for 1 month vacancy every year. All right, 1 month vacancy. So let's add to our expenses another $7,000. So let's bring up to $42,000. We're accounting for vacancy. All right. So that's 1 month of vacancy a year that we're not going to earn, right? April 1st, once again, let's do 75% financing. So 25% down. Interest rate 6.5%. So on a property like this that seems a little bit more realistic on the purchase price, because the other one was a really good deal, you know, you have 3.3% internal rate of return. Guys, look all the way to the right. There is a negative 3%. So in order to make this number a reality, your owner or the investor has to come out of pocket because the expenses are more than the income a year. All right. Because after you account for financing, the expenses are going to be more than the income per year. So while you're at the end of the day, you are going to make a rate of return every single year, the owner has to come out of pocket. Okay. You can fix all this, of course, by going to purchase and sale, right? And you can play around with the numbers. You can play around with the interest rate. You can play around with the amount of down payment you're going to give. So there are things that you guys can play around with. Sources of funds. Come over here to sources of funds. The interest rate is 6.5%, 30 years. Play around with the numbers, see how we can fix this. All right, guys, that is your fourplex. Again, you can run this type of investment. Uh, you know, you can analyze this type of investment for any property you find in the MLS. Where on the MLS can you find larger multifamily? Let's say you want to get into commercial, right? You got bigger investors that are looking for bigger properties. You're gonna go to search. You're gonna hit commercial, COM improved, and we're gonna select for sale, and we're gonna select here apartments, and you're gonna also select residential multifamily, like this one here. In Miami-Dade County, there are 145 larger buildings. These are 5 units or more. Residential multifamily is your duplex, triplex, and fourplex. But now you've got someone looking for a 10 unit. And let's go with $3 million dollars or less. All right, $3 million dollars or less. These are all the multi-family apartments like this here. This is for $2 million. Dollars. And you're looking at a property that has 6 units. All right, 6 units. They may not tell you the income and expenses. They may attach the income and expenses up here. This one does not have attachments. So you are going to end up having to call the listing agent asking for the income report. Let me find you one that has attachments. Here's one that has attachments. Okay. Here's one that has attachments, and here's one that says these are 10 units, 10 one-bedroom, one-bathroom units. Okay. You click on the attachments, and right here it says property financials summary. So they're telling you right here the gross potential rent on this one is $174,000. And then there's projected gross potential rent based on any home improvements of 205, of actually 224. All right. And then they're telling you the annual and the monthly income. And then after the expenses, property taxes, insurance, management fee, electricity, water, so on and so forth, you're looking at an NOI, which is net operating income of 48,757. So in some cases, this is going to be done for you, which is a great deal. All right. All right, guys. Anybody have any questions in what we covered today? That's the different ways we're going to find investment properties for our clients. Of course, you can search the MLS for properties that are torn down. They're in really bad conditions. And you can do that always by just going to search RE1, RE2, and just come down here under remarks. Under remarks. All right, you want to add an additional field called remarks, and you can put in um, asterisk TLC, right? Like the R&B group, right? Asterisk TLC asterisk, and it's 313 properties. We're gonna go ahead and select single family home. We're gonna select Miami-Dade County, and these are properties that the realtor mentions that it needs a little tender loving care. All right, that's what it means. So this is a property that it's not in foreclosure. However, it's probably listed for less than its value because the property needs a bit of TLC. There are many different words that you can put in the remarks with us asterisks, like handyman special or TLC or investors, and you will find properties possibly listed below its market value. All right, guys, so that's going to end our program for today. I hope that you found this useful and that you are able to locate investment properties for your clients. So if you guys do not have any other further questions, we're going to go ahead and end the program. You guys
I
all,
have a question.
yes.
Hey Rob, so I wanted to know, so the fourplex, I have a family where they don't know, they're in between. Their mom died. I guess they left them some money. So they wanted to all stay together. So they were either thinking of a rental or a home, or a duplex. If both of them stay on in there and they rent the other two sides, can they still get homestead exempt?
Yes. So when an investor purchases a property and it's a multifamily and they are going to live in one of the properties, they can claim the entire property as a homestead exemption.
Oh, okay,
As long as
perfect.
they
Okay.
don't have other properties, right? I mean,
No, they don't. They were renting.
right. So they can live in one of the units and rent the others and claim homestead exemption.
They can rent. They can stay in two of them and rent two because it's two families.
Yeah, but who's going to be the owner?
I think they're gonna it's gonna be like a family project, or yeah, it's gonna be two sisters, or maybe it needs to be one sister.
Yeah, one of them is going to claim homestead exemption. That's fine.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, perfect.
thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, folks, guys, thank you so much for joining us in this training. Keep in mind, we are going to go ahead and upload this to our YouTube channel so you guys can rewatch it later on today. All right, folks, so have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right,
Thank you.
welcome.